I have a feeling that Bangkok has returned to the same old Bangkok that we knew. Traffic jams, a lot of people out on the street. So I'm afraid that you will need to keep saying what you have been saying all along. Don't be too complacent. Don't let your guard down.
Mhm. Right.
I think that's what doctors are supposed to do. Keep reminding patients and people to take to take the medicines and not to be good with their conduct, right?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Mm.
I can understand how people has been affected by this COVID-19 because everybody, including me, and everyone I know has been affected by the virus. So whenever they evaluate the situation themselves and find out that probably now is safer than ever.
Uh-huh.
So that's what they may think. But the truth is that this is still not that very safe. Everybody still have to realize there is some level of risk out there. So
Mm.
that is why we including me, keep reminding everybody every time I have a chance that we
Uh-huh.
still have to work very hard and there's still a long ways to go.
Mm.
If we compare this with running, this would be something like a marathon, and we are just in the beginning of our very first few kilometers.
Yeah,
That's all.
not even halfway, you mean?
No, 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 no. I would like to, I mean, to say some nice things also, but the truth is that is not is we are not very close. We are in just the beginning of very few kilometers. So we have to yes, this is quite a long run. So we have to balance ourselves
Mm.
doing so at some certain point in times we may want to do something, and at different point in times we may think about doing some other things.
I
um,
see.
so we I myself would like to remind once again that we are not out of the wood yet. It is not the
Mm.
time to celebrate yet.
Mm.
But in the meantime, I can also understand that things has to some part of the city has to at least to try to go back to live in some ways. I mean, to try themselves to put things together so they some business can continue at
Mm.
some risk as low as possible. Um,
Mm.
that is what I would like to see, and I would like everybody to be aware at any times that wherever they goes, that there
Mm.
may be some risk there and how they can minimize their risk. As long as we knew um, what the level of risk would be,
Mm.
and
Mm.
we knew how to minimize the risk, I think that would be fine.
Dr. Tanarak, so far we have seen how Thai people coping with the restriction, trying to keep social distancing, wearing masks when go outside, and
Mhm.
when meeting people whom we don't know, and try to wash hands as often as we can. So far, are you happy with what Thai people have done, especially during this period, because the government is going to review the details of second phase of easing restriction?
Um, you mean just only the last 7 days, the last week, right? Or the whole from the beginning of the
Yeah,
situation?
yeah.
I,
The
I would like
recent
to
few
say,
weeks ago, because it
yeah.
seemed that people have tried to adjust, especially in terms of keeping social distancing. So far, do you think it's quite all right, or should we
Yes,
do
yes.
more?
I think in some degree, yes. Everybody's going out is still wearing a lot of people still wearing masks. Um, very few though may not, but that's understandable. Um, everybody's trying in some ways to keep their risk as low as they can. They try to avoid the crowded place much as they can. And I think that is very good to me. But let's put it this way. We can minimize the risk of everybody by doing two things. If we are just individuals and we are just employees, what we can do is that we try to minimize the risk. As I said, we don't go out if it is not necessary. We wear a mask and we clean our hand as often as we can. But on the other hand, there are some people who with responsibility or the owner of factories, of the office, of the company, or the one who can make change to the place, to the companies. Those are also very important person, and they have some responsibility as well. I'm not going to put all of the responsibility to any individuals, because some of the decision to do some things or not to do something is not up to them. Let's say if their companies said that everyone have to come back to work, then if I'm their employees, I have to go to work if I still want to keep my job. So this kind of decision is not at the individual level. It is at the company level or at the factory level, or the owner of those places have to make some decision on what they want to do or how they would like to do it. There are still certain rules or certain practices that we would like for them to do. For example, if they can continue to let their employees work from home at certain numbers, certain proportion, that would be great, so that their offices will not be so crowded. If they can do some things, continue to do something, for example, if they can screen everyone coming to the office, that will be also great. And if they can ask all of their employees wearing masks at all times, that would be great as well. As so many practices that they can do, so that their employees can be very safe. And in the meantime, if their companies or if their places also give services to their customers, if they keep these practices, all of their customer will be safe as well. And as situation go on, I believe that every customers will look for the service or the places that's safe for themselves as well. So it is a win-win situation for me. Probably I can say win-win-win, because the company also will win. The employees also will feel very safe, and probably will also help the company as well. And the customer will also understand the situation, and the whole society also get the benefit from what each and every one of us do.
Yeah. Dr. Tanarak, you can be frank and straightforward with your answer to these questions. How much longer do you think that we will need to keep wearing masks and keeping social distancing and washing our hands as we have been doing? How much longer do we need to do that?
Okay, this is easy question for me. For work from home, I think this should be the norms for the future, for the big city like Bangkok. Everyone, every company, every government, every ministry should try to ask or should try to set up the system so that every civil servants, every government employees, every staff of the government sectors should work from home as much as possible at any times, even when COVID is ended. Because work from home is benefit not just only for COVID, it's benefit for all of the respiratory diseases. It's help our environment. PM 2.5 will be better. Traffic will be better. We will spend less time on the road in the cities. So this work from home or remote working should stay, definitely. So if I can, and actually we are preparing the document, the suggestion to the governments that this should stay, not only for the government sectors. There are, as I jump into this, there are a lot of research saying that work from home, remote work, increase productivity of their employees. So plus so many things. employees save money from traveling to the office, go and back, although they have to pay some electricity bill. But that's to offset. So for the work from home, to try to keep social distancing, I think this should stay, and should stay for whenever we can do it. We can do it. So there are so many sectors that have to come in. So many sectors. The government sectors, our Ministry of Digital Economies, those ministry have to jump in and try to set up and build up our infrastructure so that not just the government part, that also the private sectors can also benefit from this policy of work from home. This is one part that I think it should be the new normals. And it was not, to me, I think we have been talking about work from home or remote work for some times. And in other countries in Europe and in America, is already a trend, not a new norm. New employees will request to work from home even more and more. They are more productive at home. And there are so many reasons safer to work from home for most of the employees. So for us, we are following that trend, and I think COVID will just accelerate those change. Should accelerate those change to the faster pace. That is one thing that I would like to see. Second things, for the wearing mask, when COVID ends, I still would like to see that if anybody has respiratory symptoms, like for example have cough, have cold, I would like to see our Thai people wearing masks when they feel ill with respiratory symptoms, just like Japan. If you have a cold, you should wear a mask. That will prevent others from getting cold from you. And I think that's a very good practices, and I would like to see it stay. So as so many practices that COVID came and taught us a lesson, there are still so many things that I think that we are practices today that should stay for a longer period of time. For those practices, I would like to see it change, not because of COVID, but COVID come in and help us realize that we should do it. Another example I can give you is what the government has been saying for a while. For example, digital transformation. For the private sectors, they already go ahead very fast. But for the government sectors, I think we are still very far behind. There are so many things that everybody as Thai citizens should be able to do from home online. And we don't have to go to the government places to do certain things and have to stay in line for a very, very long time. That should not happen. And I think this is something that COVID came in and make us think about almost everything. When we talk about work from home, one of the arguments for the government employees would be that not everything that we can work from home. Of course, yes, because there are some public services that we still have to do. But if we think harder and if we use our different mindset, we will see that certain part of those jobs can be done somewhere else, not has to be done at government offices. So this is something I would like to see it stay. And I think it will help government and every private sector as well.
We need a whole new mindset to be able to achieve that.
That's right.
And Dr. Tanarak, right now we see how many countries around the world are easing the lockdown, easing the restriction, and closer to us are new cases of infection in China, in South Korea. What Thailand should learn from this, especially these two countries?
What we can do is try to limit the number of cases to be at the lowest point as possible and keep it that low for a long times. For the plan of doing this continuously, what we should do is that we we should try to keep our guard on and keep our guard up and trying our best to keep the number as low as possible. We have already set up the guideline numbers for the government. For example, it is not a magic numbers, but just give you a rough ideas. For example, we may say that if we have the number of cases lower than about 5 cases per 1 million population per day, we are still okay. So those will be roughly about, if our provinces have 1 million population, it means that we can have about 5 cases per day. We will still be okay. So it don't have to be 0. It don't have to be 1 or 2 cases per day for the whole countries. We have some numbers that we can work with, but those are the upper limit. Those are the upper limit, not the lower limit. So what we should do is we try to keep our number low, and when we start to see our number go up, we should try our best to keep it lower than our limit.